Disney princesses have been around for a while, but it's not just their personalities that have drastically changed over time. Their fashion sense also became different. Keep on watching to see what our fave Disney princesses look like in modern clothing. Do you sing when you wake up? Do forest animals help you with your chores? If you're basically a Disney princess, be sure to subscribe. Now let's get to the evolution of Disney princess fashion. Snow White. The original Disney princess has lips red as the rose, hair black as ebony, and skin as white as snow. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was the very first full-length Disney film, which makes Snow White the oldest of them all. Snow White was a princess under her stepmother, the evil queen. The queen is obsessed with becoming the most beautiful woman in the world.
Who is the fairest one of all?
So she has her huntsman take Snow White into the woods to kill her. The huntsman cannot do it, so he releases her. In the woods, Snow White finds a cottage and moves in with 7 dwarves. The evil queen disguises herself as an old woman and poisons Snow White with an apple.
Have a bite.
Prince Charming finds her and kisses her, breaking the spell. It's a classic fairy tale. Released in 1937, Snow White became an icon to girls everywhere. She's dressed in her iconic yellow and blue dress. Snow White is originally a German fairy tale, so her outfit is inspired by Renaissance German fashion. Her blue bodice has puffy sleeves with red peeking through. She has a wide collar, as was typical in the Renaissance. Snow White's physical appearance was inspired by the movie stars of the 1930s. She's totally the fairest of them all. Cinderella. 13 years after Snow White, Disney's second princess made her debut. Cinderella was a kind noble who was forced to be a servant to her wicked stepmother and stepsisters. When she is not allowed to go to the royal ball, her fairy godmother dresses her up in a beautiful gown and glass slippers.
Oh, it's a beautiful dress.
Cinderella wins the heart of the prince, but she runs away before her fashion spell is broken. She loses a glass slipper, and the prince travels the whole kingdom looking for the girl it fits. He finds Cinderella and marries her. It's the original rags to riches story, and young girls everywhere fantasized about being whisked away and becoming royal. Cinderella was originally a French fairy tale published back in 1697. You can see a lot of classic French influences in the movie, as well as in Cinderella's fashion. For most of the movie, she wears a traditional maid's outfit with a brown bodice and apron. For the ball, she looks a little closer to court fashion of the late 1600s. In this era, skirts had large hoops, which is why her gown was so big. She is seen in much lighter colors than Snow White was, and the animators spiced up her outfit with accessories, like a simple black choker. Aurora. For the third princess, Disney hopped back over to German fairy tales. Sleeping Beauty was released way back in 1959. Maleficent, the evil sorceress, shows up to baby Aurora's christening uninvited. She curses Aurora to prick her finger and fall into a deep slumber on her 16th birthday. In order to avoid this, Aurora is raised in the woods by 3 good fairies. She falls in love with Prince Philip and goes to the castle. There, Maleficent lures her away to a spinning wheel. She pricks her finger and falls into the world's most epic nap. Prince Philip defeats Maleficent, who can turn into a dragon. Then he awakes Aurora with true love's kiss. It's sweet and romantic, and it's a classic. Aurora's design was originally based on Audrey Hepburn, a beautiful movie star of the time. The clothes she wears in the forests look pretty similar to the maid clothes that Cinderella wore, but her ball gown looks like they are several centuries older. The fit of the bodice and the skirt look very medieval, but her dress is off the shoulder, which is more of a Renaissance style. She is also the first princess to appear in pink. She also wears a similar blue to Cinderella's dress because the fairies argue over what color to make her gown.
Blue.
Let's be honest, the fairies are one of the best parts of the whole movie. Ariel. Disney left the princess game for a long time after Sleeping Beauty. It was 30 years until the next Disney princess came on the scene. Can you believe that? The Little Mermaid ushered in the next stage of Disney princesses. Ariel is a mermaid princess who is obsessed with all things human. Ariel falls in love with the human prince Eric, and she trades her voice to the evil sea witch Ursula in exchange for legs.
Keep singing!
Ariel and Eric fall in love, and they eventually live happily ever after, with Ariel staying human. The original fairy tale by Hans Christian Andersen is dark AF. Ariel has the total opposite of a happy ending. We'll stick with the Disney version. As a mermaid, Ariel reveals a lot more skin than previous princesses. She looks like a pretty traditional mermaid in her green tail and purple seashell bra. As a human, her fashion looks pretty close to royal fashion of the mid-1800s. Her pink dress has a hoop skirt and puffy sleeves, which is kind of a mix of Snow White and Cinderella's gowns. She also wears a blue gown with a long bodice and long-sleeve shirt underneath. She's a Scandinavian princess after all, and it's not exactly warm there. The choice of pink and blue dresses are a nod to earlier princesses from the classic era. Belle. It's a tale as old as time. Beauty and the Beast is one of the most popular Disney movies ever, which makes Belle one of the most popular princesses. She is definitely one of the most iconic. Belle is the daughter of an inventor in 18th century France. When her father is taken prisoner by an evil beast in an enchanted castle, Belle goes to rescue him.
Take me instead.
She offers herself in place of her father. With the help of all the magical housewares, Belle and the Beast fall in love. This breaks the spell, and the Beast is transformed into Prince Adam, and they live happily ever after. Belle is the first princess to break a magic spell, instead of the prince breaking it. Belle usually dresses in a blue peasant dress with a white apron. She wears her hair in a low ponytail with a bow. We are seeing a trend with the bow dresses here. Her fancy ball gown is yellow, a color we haven't seen on a princess since Snow White. It has a giant hoop skirt, which is typical of that time period in France. She wears long yellow gloves, and her dress is off the shoulders. This is not exactly true to the era, but it's one of the prettiest Disney dresses ever. It's no wonder that her name means beauty. Jasmine. Our next Disney princess might be one of the most underrated princesses, but she is really important for Disney movies. Jasmine from Aladdin is the first non-white, non-European Disney princess, and that is a huge deal. Jasmine is the daughter of a sultan, which was an old title for king in the Middle East. She falls in love with Aladdin, thinking he is a prince, and he whisks her away on his magic carpet. She's fierce and independent, and she still loves Aladdin when she finds out he's not Prince Ali. Because Jasmine is an Arabian princess, her style is way different from earlier princesses. She was designed to look like a traditional Arabian royal. She wears blue harem pants and a matching top that shows her midriff. Disney is still designing their princesses in blue at this point. Her formal outfit is a purple dress with a long pink veil. When Jafar takes her as prisoner, he puts her in a red harem-style outfit, and there's a lot of controversy about the rather creepy adult message those scenes sent. Whatever she wears, Jasmine is a total fashion icon. After Jasmine opened up a whole new world of Disney princesses, Disney released Pocahontas, a movie that went in a completely new but very appreciated direction. Then Disney jumped to another side of the world and gave us Mulan. Mulan was based on an ancient Chinese epic ballad. To save her elderly father from having to fight in the war, she disguises herself as a man. She quickly becomes an amazing soldier, and she saves all of China. In the Disney version, she also falls in love with her commander and lives happily ever after, of course. It's a great movie all about girl power, and it's one of our faves. Disney really tried to depict the Chinese heroine as culturally accurate as possible. At the beginning of the movie, she is dressed for the matchmaker. This traditional Chinese dress is called a hanfu. She is also made up in the desired Chinese makeup fashion, with a pale face and exaggerated eyes and lips, which she hates and washes away. Through most of the movie, she dresses as a traditional Chinese soldier, and while Mulan is considered a Disney princess, she is actually the first to not be royal by birth or marriage. Tiana. Disney took another long break from Disney princesses after Mulan, but in 2009, they released The Princess and the Frog. It was a huge deal because Tiana became the first black princess. She also continued the trend of Mulan and Pocahontas by being a strong, independent woman. She works hard to open her own restaurant. She is hired to make food for a ball where the handsome Prince Naveen will be. But Naveen is cursed into a frog. Tiana kisses him, and instead of turning Naveen into a human, she becomes a frog too. They have to fight a voodoo master to turn human again. Although she spends most of the movie as an amphibian, Tiana has some amazing New Orleans style. As a waitress, she wears a simple yellow frock with an apron. It's a total nod nod to princesses like Cinderella and Belle, but in a brighter color. Her most stylish gown is the one at the end. It's yellow and green and is inspired by her frog persona. It's as big as Belle's yellow gown, but the green overlay resembles a lily pad. We think this is some of the most creative fashion designing to come out of Disney. Rapunzel. After Tiana, Disney released Tangled, which is a hilarious and awesome update of the classic Rapunzel fairy tale. Rapunzel is the first CGI princess. In this story, Rapunzel is stolen as a baby by the evil Gothel. Gothel uses Rapunzel's magical hair to keep herself young and beautiful. She locks Rapunzel in a tower. When Flynn Rider stumbles on the tower after running from soldiers, Rapunzel convinces him to help her escape. She just wants to see the floating lantern. During their adventure, Rapunzel and Flynn fall in love. They also learn the truth about Rapunzel's past, and together they defeat Gothel. She's naive like Ariel, but independent like Mulan. It totally makes sense that Rapunzel dresses a little like Aurora. After all, they are both based on German fairy tales. Rapunzel wears a traditional German dress known as a dirndl. It's pink and purple with puffy sleeves, which we see a lot on Disney princesses. Her hair is 70 feet long for most of the movie, but when she cuts it at the end, she ends up with a brown pixie cut. That makes her look way more modern than the story is. No matter her hair, Rapunzel is one fierce woman. Merida. Merida from Brave is the last official Disney princess. We know what you're thinking. What about Anna from Frozen? Well, according to the official Disney princess line, Anna has not been included as of 2018. Merida, the daughter of King Fergus and Queen Eleanor. She's not a traditional princess. She hates being ladylike. Girl, we can relate. She prefers to spend her time outdoors, and she's an amazing archer. But because she doesn't want to be all proper and get married, she and her mom have a really strange relationship. When her mom is turned into a bear, they have to learn to get along and work together. Merida is the first and only princess who doesn't have a love story in her movie, and this makes her awesome. Not everything is about finding a husband after all. Merida is also different in her fashion choices. She wears really dark colors, which look great with her fiery red hair. Her dress is a pretty traditional medieval dress, but she wears her hair loose instead of covered. Merida really stands apart from the rest of the Disney princesses, and we think that makes her even better. There's no doubt that Disney princesses changed a lot, from Snow White to Merida. Which Disney princess fashion is your favorite? Let us know in the comments. That's all we have for the evolution of Disney princess fashion. For more Disney content, check out our community page and don't forget to subscribe.